Since I'm up to Mega Man 3, I decided to play the Mega Drive's Wily Wars version, just for something different. The graphics and sound are definitely better than on the Nintendo, but Mega Man doesn't control quite as tightly as he did in the original. Oh well. So what did Capcom change for Mega Man 3? Mega Man's momentum and control was finally perfected, in the NES version anyway, and all of the levels were bigger and they had more variety. There were two major gameplay additions though, which vastly improved the game. The first was Rush, the Robo-Dog, who could transform into the very useful Rush Coil, or Rush Jet, and the pretty useless Rush Submarine. The other addition was the Slide, which took Mega Man into a whole new level of awesome and manoeuvrability. I'm still fuming that Capcom removed the Slide in Mega Man 9 and 10. I have no idea why they did it. The Slide is awesome. So who's Mega Man facing off against this time? The Robot Masters here are a lot less elemental based than in previous games, but it's a good cast of strange personalities nonetheless. Sparkman is a giant spark plug. Obviously, he lives in an electric factory and, makes electricity. Must be Elecman's cousin. Snake Man has a thing for reptiles, and he's redecorated his fortress accordingly. His weapon is, what else, remote-controlled snakes. Needle Man seems to live on a ship of some sort. He's a tough boss to beat without the right weapon, but he's a good one to start with because he'll give you the Rush Jet. Top Man has a fortress of leaves with guardian cats. Anyway, this guy loves playing with spinning tops. I think he's evidence of Dr. Wily's sanity slipping further and further away. Shadow Man. His proper name should really be Ninja Man, since that's clearly what he is, throwing shurikens and all that. He lives in a sewer where the water runs red and the lights turn themselves out. Magnet Man is all about magnetism, obviously. My favourite music of the game is in this level, and it's in a major key, which is unusual for Mega Man music. Gemini Man, well, Gemini Men actually, since there's two of them. Together they rule over a strange moon where the caves are blocked with the eggs of flying tadpoles. I'm not kidding. And Hardman is a big beefy tough guy who loves to launch himself into the ground head first. He's found in the mines. Mega Man 3 is unique in that the boss's weaknesses don't go in a complete loop like in all the other games. Instead, there's a circle of 3 and a circle of 5. It's the only time in Mega Man history where this has happened. I don't know why. Even though this game is mysteriously missing an intro movie, there's more story than in previous games, the main one being the strange appearance of an unknown robot that sometimes helps and sometimes hinders Mega Man. We now know that he is, of course, the first Mega Man model who Dr. Light called Proto Man. But is he friend or foe? You definitely get a lot more bang for your buck with Mega Man 3. After you've beaten the Robot Masters and you think you're ready to take on Wily, something strange happens. 4 of the levels get a revisit with new layouts and new bosses. Or should I say old bosses. In what's an amazing bargain, the owner of Mega Man 3 gets to fight all of the bosses of Mega Man 2 all over again. Well, their souls implanted into new bodies anyway. This makes the game significantly longer than the previous 2. Once you beat them, then Wily's castle awaits with a familiar face at the end of the second level. Then just when you think you've beaten Dr. Wily and finished the game... What the? That was just a robot? Then it's after the real Wily in an epic showdown with Gamma, the gigantic robot he stole from Dr. Light. Then it's... oh, wow. Looking back on Mega Man 3, there's no doubt of its brilliance. I'd say it's one of the best, if not the best, game in the entire Mega Man series. The second game improved almost everything from the first, but the third game refined it. If a Mega Man stranger wanted to know the best place to jump into the series, I'd probably suggest Mega Man 3. It's Blue Bomber Excellence. Meanwhile, in a galaxy far, far away, my first thought was that I'd like to play the return of Samus as it was originally intended. yeah, that didn't last long. God bless the Game Boy player. The story of Metroid 2 is legendary among the game's canon now, but for the three of you who might not have heard it, here's the lowdown. After destroying the Space Pirates' base on Zebes back in the first game, Samus went on 3 intense missions to stop the Space Pirates from gaining control of a dangerous biochemical substance known as Phazon. That's another story, however. After all this, Samus was given the mission of going to the homeworld of the Metroids, planet SR-388, and destroying every last one of them, so that the Space Pirates might never be able to use them as a weapon again. So this is a genocide mission. Leave no Metroid alive. Yikes. Only problem is, in the atmosphere of their own world, the Metroids can mutate. So as Samus delves deeper and deeper into the planet, the Metroids get bigger and bigger. The gameplay of the original is intact, and there's some excellent new additions to this game as well. Like the spider ball for climbing up walls, and the space jump allowing Samus to propel herself through the air. The whole hunting aspect is great as well. You're never quite sure where the next Metroid will appear. I don't know, the Metroids must have some kind of unknown heat magnetism, because whenever you kill a certain number of them, the planet's lava level drops, exposing new areas to explore. There's no doubt that the game design is improved from the original. Well, you'd hope it would be, since it was made 5 years later. However, there are a couple of major problems in Metroid 2 that prevent it from being a true classic. The first is the most obvious. The game is in black and white. That was the limitations of the hardware, I get that, but what it means is that almost every area in the game looks the same. It just doesn't have the environmental variety of the original, and it's very, very easy to get completely lost. The worst part is there's no map system in the game whatsoever, so the only way to have a clue where you're going is to draw your own. And you'll need to, because navigating the black and white caverns of SR-388 will be ridiculously confusing otherwise. The other issue I have is that because of the low resolution of the Game Boy, Samus is huge. Look at her next to her Metroid 1 counterpart. Because she takes up so much screen space, you don't get as good a sense of the surroundings. The camera is almost claustrophobically close to her. It feels like Metroid 2 wasn't really designed as an on-the-go game. Sometimes the save points are a long distance in between. It would have been much more useful to give Samus a quick save option, but I guess that idea didn't really exist back then. The Metroid games are synonymous for having great stories that are told without the need for dialogue. Just ignore this. And a perfect example of this is the scene at the end of the game where Samus, having finally destroyed every last Metroid, discovers a baby hatching in front of her. This single event shapes the entire series from this point on, and it's great to see it in its original form. Overall, Metroid 2 isn't a bad game. It has some really cool story and gameplay ideas that have been used in the series ever since. Its problem is simply the machine that it was made for, which just wasn't powerful enough to deliver a great Metroid experience. It definitely feels like a Metroid game, but looked at next to the future ones, there's just no comparison. It only sits. So this was the Mega Drive's response to the Super Nintendo launch. Well, it's original, I'll give it that. You know, I want to like this, I really do. I love dolphins. I also love it when games companies try something really different, which these days means any game that doesn't involve guns. But how much more original could you get than playing as a dolphin whose family's been kidnapped by aliens? The problem is, I just didn't find the game very much fun to play. Ecco can be stubborn to move around, and I often found that I just couldn't get him to do what I wanted him to. Maybe it's just my bad playing, I don't know. You have to make sure Ecco is constantly getting topped up with air because, you know, he's a mammal, he needs to breathe. There just doesn't seem to be anything really exciting to do. It's really just a whole lot of mazes with a whole lot of dead ends. And like Metroid 2, there's no map. Unlike Metroid 2 though, the environments are very pretty to look at with lots of colour and variation. The music is worth mentioning though, especially in the Mega CD version. It's beautiful, really makes you feel like you're underwater. Look, I'm torn with Ecco. The concept, the presentation, the originality, I love it. I just wish I could love the game, but I can't. I just found it kind of boring. Shame. It's here, it's here, it's here! At long, long last, the Super Nintendo is unleashed. Join me next week for 3 of the launch titles and we'll see how they fare in 2011. Peace out.